Alright, I have some miscellaneous locking folding knives I'm going to put up for sale. Let's go ahead and take a look at them here. First one we have up is a cold steel Frenzy. This is a neat knife. I did not realize how large this knife was when I bought it. I really like the shape of it and everything, but I don't know that I'm ever going to carry it, so I'm going to put it up for sale. Go ahead and take a look here. The blade centering, while we're thinking about it, it does favor this clip side just a bit, but it's not rubbing the sides or anything. So this knife, you can open it with one hand. It is huge. I have medium-sized hands. As you can see, I can get both my hands on this with a little bit to spare on either side. It is a large knife, so be aware of that. Neat for the collection. Like I said, I don't know if I would ever carry the darn thing. It does have the triad lock, which is a super strong lockback design. I feel absolutely no play in this whatsoever. So what the triad lock does, if you're not aware, it actually adds a stop pin here. So normally the blade would just come back, and the back of the blade would hit the lock bar, and then there's a little hook that goes down in this notch, which is still the case inside the blade, but the triad lock adds that stop pin for a little more stability, and they are very solid locks. Not really much to say about this. I bought this as like new. I do not have a box for it. I'm sorry. The edge feels perfect. It's sharp. It has no imperfections, dings, chips, or anything like that. Rolled spots. Like I said, don't have a box. I don't really have much to point out on this knife. It's the pattern on the blue G10 is really pretty. CTS XHP steel. Got a good action on it. But it's just big. And we'll take a look at the centering. All right. Next knife we've got up here is an Emerson Mini Commander. This has OD green handles, black liners, and a black blade. I bought this one used, and I have done nothing with it. Now this one, let's take a look at centering. If I can get this thing to focus. There we go. The centering looks to me like it's pretty much spot on. This is a chisel ground blade though, which is why it kind of looks like it's pointing off to that side. If you're not familiar with Emerson factory edges, they are only ground on one side. They're chisel ground. The blade itself is V ground with this is a saber grind, but the edge is not V ground. It's just chisel ground. So just be aware of that. So it may make it look like it's off center, but it looked to me like it was pretty much on. We'll take a look at the lockup on this one real quick. There's the liner lockup, about 50% it looks like. And lockup feels solid on it. I don't feel any real play in it or anything. Like I said, I bought this one used. Here's a look at the markings. Should be 154 cm, which is what he uses on all his knives. Although it's not marked, unless I'm missing it. Huh. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be marked on there. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that's what he still uses on all of his knives. So here we go, Mini Commander. It does have the wave feature. Like I said, I bought it used. I have never carried it or used it. You will see these black oxide coatings on the clips often look like that, but they may be marks from carrying it too. Benchmades are kind of the same way. Let's kind of take a look around it. So expect to see some light signs of carry or use. Especially up here, you will see probably the worst place is right up here on the wave, on the tip of the wave. You'll see some of that black coatings rubbed off. Likewise, or on the edges up here, you'll see some of the black coating has worn off just on the very edge there. A lot of this is dust you're seeing down in there. The edge on it feels very sharp, no defects, rolls, chips, anything like that. I will give Emerson one thing. Their knives come with crazy sharp edges. I don't know if that's due to the chisel grind or what it is, but their knives really come sharp. I would say this knife was probably carried by the previous owner or someone else and not really seen much use, if I had to guess. And there you can see there's dust. See, that's just wiping right off. So, probably some oil or something there. So if you're looking for an Emerson, I think this is a good example of one. Good solid one. And I like the black and OD green. It does have the factory box Got some a plastic bag and some documentation in there. Okay. Next up, we have a duplicate pair. And I will sell these separately, but I'll just pull them out and kind of look at them together. So what these are LionSteel SR-1s. These are integral aluminum handled knives, so the handles are one piece of aluminum that's been milled out. I have one that was probably a light user and one that was a user. Definitely seen some use. So we'll take a look at this guy first, which appears to be the light user. And these are serial numbered, number 64, and you can see this is number 64. Both of these are the Nut and Fancy Project special editions with the purple handles, purple scale. Or I guess handle, it's a handle. And I think he requested this blade is a little bit different. The other one I don't think dips down maybe. I haven't seen one for a little while, but I think it's more of like a spear point where this has a little bit more of a clip to it. This is serial number 64. Do expect to see some very light signs of use with this one, but nothing crazy. You'll see there's some white speckling there on the anodizing. I would say that's a factory fault if I had to guess. There's some there. I've never used this knife. I bought it just because I really like these, but they're just a little larger than I want. So I have an SR2, the smaller version that I'm going to keep, and then I'm going to sell these two. You can see there is some wear to the black finish on the clip here. Now the edge, I would say that this is not a factory edge. It is a beautiful mirror edge though, that a previous owner put on it, and man, it is sharp. My fingernail, oh man, it's smooth. I feel no defects in that whatsoever, very smooth. So do expect to see some light signs of use on this one, but nothing too crazy. The black coating on the blade looks to be pretty much intact. You know, you might see some little imperfections in it or something, but I'm not really seeing much here. If you are not familiar with the SR-1s, so the aluminum has a steel lock bar interface here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lockup and the centering while I'm thinking about it. I would say that it favors the non-clip side just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Lockup feels pretty solid. There might be a slight bit of flexing side to side, but nothing sloppy, no blade play, and no vertical stuff. So what I was saying though, these SR-1s, this is an over-travel stop, a lock bar over-travel stop, but it is also a lock. So if you rotate it, it will prevent the lock bar from moving. So this whole thing is like super solid now. I don't really think it's a necessary feature, but it's kind of neat, something different. So there, it's unlocked. We can close the blade back down. This does have the factory box with its. So there's the nicer example of the two. By nicer, I just mean less used. So let's move on to the real user here. This is the same Nut and Fancy Project Special Edition, serial number 157. It does have the factory box, no plastic bag in there, just a little document. This one has been a user though. The previous owner used it. I carried this one and used it. So you're going to see more wear on this one. Now this one does not have that beautiful mirrored edge. The previous owner did put this edge on it, which has a pretty wide bevel. It's a nice edge though. It's super sharp, very sharp, and I don't feel any defects or anything in it. So this would be a very good user if you're looking one to use, but you are going to see a lot more wear on it. So you can see that the black coating is fading in places. There's some marks on the black coating here. There's a little ding on the thumb stud right there. Some wear on the spines, black coating on this side. You will see some dings in the aluminum, in the anodizing, some small dings. Wear on the pocket clip for sure. We got some dings down here. A lot of these don't really catch the nail much. I think it's more wear to the anodizing, but you know, like that one there, it's catching the nail. So just be aware. This one you're gonna see some signs of use on this one for sure. Okay. Take a look at the bottom there. I just like people to know what they're getting. And we'll we'll take a look at the lockup and centering. Centering on this one seems to favor the clip side. Yeah, favors the clip side just a little bit. Solid lockup. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything going on there play-wise, flexing or anything. So, good solid user, a neat knife if you're looking for something like that. And the same rotary, you can rotate that to lock the lock bar open. So those are two LionSteel SR-1s, special editions. I forgot to point out on these LionSteels, the blade steel is D2 on these. Next knife we have here is a beautiful knife. Very, very nice knife. This is from Southern Grind, which is a knife company owned by Zach Brown of the Zach Brown Band. Here we have a Spider Monkey drop point satin blade with a copper handle. So this is a factory copper scales. It does come with the documentation in the factory box. This one, I bought this. I think it was like new in box when I bought it. But I did carry this and use it some. It was just a neat knife. It's a good size for my medium-sized hands. I really like it. So do expect to see some signs of carry and use, but nothing. Like, I didn't even use this enough to maintain it on my sharp maker. Like, the edge is still perfect. And it is a beautiful edge. This is the factory edge on this knife, and they really put a beautiful edge on a knife. I mean, they're blowing Benchmade's crappy grinds out of the water, even Spyderco's and stuff. They don't look very good. This edge looks good, and it's sharp. It's nice. The stone washing on the blade is beautiful. You can see it's S30VN, serial number there of 1834. And you can see this is copper, so it's going to get this patina. And then you can see around the clip where, you know, there's no hand touching it. The oils aren't getting on there, so it's still shiny down there. On the blade itself, I don't see anything to point out, really, wear-wise. It's beautiful. The copper scales, of course, you're going to see the patina. And there are going to be some spots on here. I'm kind of looking off camera here because it can be a little bit difficult to detect them. But expect around the edges and stuff to see some little wear. Copper's soft, so it takes on little scratches or little tiny dings real easily. Nothing like crazy. You know, it's not going to look like it was dragged behind a truck or anything, but, you know, it did see some pocket time, so it may have some little scuffs or something here or there, but nothing too crazy. This is a beautiful knife, very well made. It's a beautiful knife. I know I keep saying that, but there's a lockup on it. Centering, if I can get you to focus. Centering looks to be spot on. Yeah, centering's spot on it. And then solid lockup, no movement whatsoever. So that's a really nice knife. So next knife we have here, this is one that's kind of collectible. These giant mouse knives. This is a giant mouse GM1. This may be the first one they released. I can't remember, but this is a titanium frame lock. Really a neat knife. A funky little design. It's well made. And this one, I bought this one as a light user, and I never carried it really. I carried it in like an EDC bag, but never had pocket carry or anything. It's just not one I bought it more as a collectible, but I'm trying to thin a little bit of that stuff out. So we'll just kind of take a quick look around it. You will see some marks on it and stuff because the previous owner did use it some. Here on the pivot, you're going to see a little scratch there in the titanium. Okay. I'm just going to kind of look around the knife here so you can get a view of it. Everything's pretty well intact. I mean, like I said, I'm going to call this a light user. There's nothing crazy on it, but do expect to see some little marks and stuff. Number 147. And while we're thinking about it, there's our lockup and our centering. Centering looks pretty much spot on to me. It might favor this, I mean just tiny, but not anything significant. So there's our lockup again. The action on this, I'm pretty sure this rides on ball bearings. It flips open beautifully, no wrist action. What's also nice that I like, it opens very nicely via the hole too, just if you want to open it with your thumb, which is my preferred method. I much prefer opening via studs or holes rather than the flipper. So let's continue taking a look around the knife just for any... I thought I remembered there were some marks on the pivot somewhere else. Let's take a look at this side again. You'll see some like little... There we go. There's a little spot there on the pivot. I thought there was. And just some little marks around there. Real faint, but you know, they're present. So just be aware of them. Now, let's get to the part that has lots of wear. And that is the pocket clip. So you can see this clip screw is kind of stripped. It was kind of mangled up, and the clip has some wear. Now, the nice thing is, let's get inside this box. So it does have the factory box. There's a little card in there. The inner factory box, like a nesting ball. There's the GM1 Stonewash, I imagine is what that stands for. I don't know if they made other versions. It also has the factory bag. Let's keep going, because there's more. So what I did after I got this is I called Giant Mouse, or emailed them or whatever, and I was like, hey, can I get a clip from you guys? Because I know these are limited knives, there's not a lot of them out there, and I didn't know how long parts would be available. So I procured a brand spanking new clip for it. Brand factory new, never been used. I kept the old one on there so it would get beaten up, and I could have this one. Looks like there's a little mark in the anodizing on it, but yeah, this is a factory new clip, and I also have a factory new pivot screw and a factory new clip screw. So this one isn't all mangled up. So now what I did, I actually did take that screw off and make sure this would work, but just take a rubber band and stick it in there, and then stick your bit in, and that rubber band will give you enough. And I didn't like crazy tighten that back down when I put it back on. So got a brand new clip and screw there, brand new male pivot screw for this knife. So overall, this one's a pretty nice little setup of a discontinued knife that's kind of hard to find, honestly. So talked that guy to death. Sorry, let me get these boxes all done back up. I should put that inside, but we'll do that after the video's over. All right, the last two knives we have here, and I'm going to pull them out and do them together like I did the LionSteels because they're similar. So these are EnZo Birk 75s. I have 3 of these knives, and I'm trying to whittle down duplicates, so I'm getting rid of 2 of them, and all of them are different versions. So this first version that we're taking a look at, this has CPM S30V steel, and it is a flat ground blade. I bought this as a light user. I have never carried or used this one. The blade or the edge feels good on it. There's a little bit, I feel a little bit of something right there, but it's not like if you stropped that, it'd probably come out. Very sharp. These are really nice knives. They're really big bang for the buck knives, I think. Liner lock, there's your lockup on it. Go ahead and take a look at the centering. Centering, I'm going to take it off camera. It looks spot on to me. They fly open. These are on PB phosphor bronze washers, I'm pretty sure. You can see them in there. Not bearings. Just very solid lockup. Just a great, great knife. Underrated, I think. But there's not really much to point out on these. It is a light user, so expect to see some marks from carry or light use on the bolsters probably. Like I said, the edge is good. I don't really see anything on the blade much to point out. Try and get it in some different lighting there. But you're going to see some stuff on the bolsters a little bit, but not, honestly, I don't even see much on there. Carbon fiber scales on this. So, neat little knife. Does not have the factory box. It will ship in a Benchmade warranty box. Same with this version. So this is also an EnZo Birk 75. You notice the pocket clip's a little bit different between the two. This is a deep carry and this is not. This is full carbon fiber scales instead of the bolster there. And this one, also, this has a Scandi edge, a Scandinavian grind. So you've got your primary bevel. The secondary bevel is enormous. This is the edge of the blade. This isn't a saber grind. This is the edge. If you're not familiar with Scandi grinds, just look those up. But full carbon fiber scale on this. Once again, a liner lock. There's your lockup. And your centering. Take it off camera real quick. Centering looks spot on to me. Now, where the other one was S30V, this is D2. So this one has a D2 Scandi grind. This one has an S30V full flat grind. Lockup, very solid. Edge on it is, there's something, I feel a little bump right there. That's it though. Nothing significant there. It's not anything to worry about. Strop or an ultrafine sharp maker rod will pull it out. And I don't even see it on there, but you can feel it with your nail just a little bit. So once again, an underrated knife, I think. Really nice, solid, fast action. Yeah, these EnZo Birks, I'm keeping one. I can tell you, I've got a Desert Ironwood scaled one that I'm keeping. So there's a little assortment of miscellaneous locking folders.